Thanks for stopping by at Twisted Art Designs. Today's positive word is uplifting. So uplifting is encouraging and inspiring. So how can we be encouraging and inspiring? If we teach someone else how to do something, I like to do these art journal videos to inspire others to create art and ways that it's helpful and healing to create art. So that's something that is inspiring. It inspires me to make more videos for you, and hopefully they inspire you. To be encouraging, if there's someone who's maybe discouraged and unhappy in their life, you can be encouraging to help them find something that will lift them out of their doldrums by suggesting something that they might enjoy doing to bring them some encouragement. But I think it's a great thing for us to all be uplifting and to use the word uplifting in your art journal or in your gratitude journal. So let's get on to the video. I created this steampunk art journal page, and now I'm going to show you how and tell you how I did it. So let's get started and have some fun. In my last video, I showed this new FaceUps sheet. This is a collage sheet that I created, and it is a steampunk themed collage sheet for making face-up characters in your art journals. I showed yesterday how to use this page for other than steampunk in your art journal. Now today I'm going to show you how to use it in your steampunk journal if you're making one and if you enjoy steampunk themes. There will be a link in the description box below for where to find this collage face-up sheet. So for the past 10 years I have a file folder that I have labeled steampunk. And every time I find something that to me looks like it would be really cool to put on a steampunk page in an altered book that I create to make all steampunk, or an art journal style that's all steampunk, but I've just been storing and saving images. So you're probably wondering what the heck is in this folder and why is it so thick? Well, here's things like this. These are from old books that I've gotten from the thrift shop or from our local library. Has a dollar bin. When they're getting rid of books, they're purging books that they don't, people aren't interested in checking out in the library. They kind of rotate them out, and for 50 cents to $1 you can get this book. So I've gotten a lot of interesting books there that I know, destroyed, but they were going to the landfill anyway, but they're not really destroyed. I save the images in the books to create junk journals, art journals, use as focal points, all that kind of stuff. So things like that have gone into this folder. It's things like this. So these quirky, kind of cool, original transportation things, things from magazines that look kind of steampunk-like. These are from, this is a book about antiques, and I thought, you know, apothecary stuff looks great, will be great for steampunk, like this cool little apothecary box. This guy with his aviator cap and glasses, perfect for steampunk. Crazy background, things like this. Everything that I've seen that is just cool looking images that when I first glance at it in a book, the first thing that pops to my mind is that is cool for steampunk. And those get put in this folder. And like I said, I've been collecting for 10 years all these really fun images. So what I want to do now is I want to create a steampunk art journal. So I'm going to, you know I'm working on a Victorian journal as well, but I always have more than one project going at a time. This one is like that one, has been 10 years in the making. My folder is busting at the seams, and so I decided to create some steampunk face-ups that I thought would make some really fun steampunk characters that could show up in my steampunk art journal. So I haven't decided yet if it's going to be in a book like a large range or Delusions, or maybe an actual book, as long as it's string bound and will hold together. I might do an altered book, so that I haven't decided yet. I'm working on that. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you how to create a steampunk collaged character. When I print the collage sheet, I always print 2. And the reason for that is then you can get super creative. So I'm using the girl that's smoking the cigar, and I cut her out twice, and I'm going to cut those goggles out on her hat a second time, pop them up on this pair, and I think I'm going to just, where the goggles are underneath the hat, just cut a little slit with my X-Acto knife, stick the other pair behind, pop them up, glue them down on the edges, and then I'm going to have a real three-dimensional look on this girl. So it's those kind of fun things where you can play around. I'm also going to add some glossy accents to the lenses on the goggles that are on top, because then they're going to look like lenses. And I'll use some white chalk to make the smoke coming out of her cigar once I get her on a page. Things like that. This cool guy here, he looks great by himself, but then, and so does this guy, he's really fun. But if you want his hat on this guy, all you'd have to do is trim out his hat, and you could put it on this guy. So the hat is interchangeable and can be put on this guy, or you could put it on this girl and tilt it and tuck it behind that mechanical looking butterfly, so she'd have a top hat on. So it's really interchangeable, and you can play around with it and be creative and make it your own. So this is what I did with this. I cut this out, fussy cut it out, and then I made a little slit just at the top of the hat where the two glasses go. And off the second copy, I cut out the glasses. And instead of cutting them right along the edge, I left a little tab. That little tabby could go right behind there. It would tuck right in, and you wouldn't even know it because it will line right back up. Check that out. How cool is that? And then I'm just going to use pop dots behind them to make them pop, and then they'll look three-dimensional. But look at this. Now, this was in a book about antiques, and it was a wall screen print type thing. On the back, it's got Buffalo Bill. But look at this lady. Now, if I took this steampunk girl, and she's eating a biscuit. If I use my scissors and I fussy cut around that hand, and then I cut just a line along the edge of the cigar, and I put this head on this girl, she could be using her hand to hold her cigar, and look at that. That is so cool. I love that. That would be awesome on the steampunk page. So I think I'm definitely going to go with this one for the steampunk page. So this is from Stampington and Company 2007, so you could look for those on eBay. So look at this, how cute this would be as a steampunk girl in the steampunk journal, because she's got kind of crazy looking glasses on an opera stick, and that makes a cute steampunk character. This one would be really cool for one of the steampunk guys, to put one of the men's face-ups on this character to make a steampunk guy. Those would be great. And on magazine images like this, these Arteza brush pens tint magazine images, and so you could color this with Arteza brush pens and create a nice little colorful cute character. So I cut out that magazine image, and I cut her fingers so that now she's holding her cigar, which I love. And I did cut off the bow on her dress. I'm going to change that up. And I think what I want to do is on her little corset here, I think I might even lace that up, put some laces, crisscross laces. So I'm going to back this with a file folder by gluing it down to a file folder, trimming it out, and then that way it'll allow me to poke some holes and set some eyelets and lace some silk ribbon through here to lace up her little corset. These words won't be on the final page, but I left them there so that I can either paint over them. I'll probably gesso it and paint it cream colored to look like the tablecloth is coming down. I just don't want the words. And then I'm going to do another girl on the page with her too, with this one. And I think I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to back this in file folder and set some eyelets and crisscross it with some ribbon to lace up her little corset top. So this is my background. This is a Strathmore 400 series hardbound journal that I'm working in, and the pages are all tan colored, and it's mixed media. And for this background, I just did the smushing technique with Distress Oxide inks, and I used 4 different colors. I used Black Soot, Rusty Hinge, Vintage Photo, and Walnut Stain. And all you do is to get a piece of plastic, smush down the inks on the plastic, and then spritz it with water and then put it down onto your page. You can do them one color at a time if you want. I just kind of did them apart from each other so I don't get one ink on the other ink pad. But then you mist it with water and you put it down on your paper and you keep smushing, 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 and it made this beautiful background. I used a heat tool to dry it, and that's what it looks like. So it gave just a really cool looking background. And now what I'm going to do for my images, I'm using this FaceUps girl from the FaceUps kit, and I cut off her collar. She's got a white pointy collar, and I just made a tab straight down because I'm not going to use that collar on this one. So you can vary it up. And I had this coloring book image, and it was a girl leaning on something, so I'm going to use the FaceUps like this on this coloring book girl. I had this really cool, this came out of an antique book about antiques, this cool vintage Crandall typewriter. I'm going to fussy cut that out. That's going to go on the page. She's going to be leaning up against this antique typewriter like this. That's going to be my focal. And then I needed some legs for her. This is a magazine that was probably Somerset Studios, I'm guessing. I don't know what year, but it was a paper doll, an article about paper dolls, and I love the vintage boots that are on this girl and her legs. So to give her some legs, I'm going to put those legs on the girl to complete her. So that's what I'm going to do to put these images together, and then I'll show you when I get them all on the page what I'm going to do next. I have this really cool rubber stamp that is a skyline of buildings, and I'm going to take some black archival ink, and I've got this put down on my page, but I think I'm going to put a skyline of buildings behind the typewriter. Well, that turned out cool. Look at the skyline stamped on that background. Looks nifty. That's what I wanted, just for a little interest. I have this stamp. It's from an old 2002 Stamping Up set, and I inked it without the clouds, and I'm going to stamp this into the background right over my buildings. Okay, and then I'm probably going to go over it with some pen to make it even darker, but that looks really cool. I've got these cool stamps by Tim Holtz with a light bulb and a lock and key and some gears, so I'm going to use those on this page as well. This Tim Holtz set is called Industrial, and I think what I'm going to do with the gears and with the light bulb is to stamp them onto tissue paper. I'm going to stamp the key, I believe, like right here in the book directly, but those other two I think I'm going to stamp on tissue paper and then use matte gel medium to apply them to the page. Just plain white tissue paper, wrapping paper. One side has kind of got a little glossy look to it, if you can see that, and the other side is matte, and I'm going to stamp on the matte side with my rubber stamps. And I'm using Ranger Archival ink in Black Soot. I went ahead and stamped the lock and key as well. I think I'm going to just do them all the same. So here they are stamped onto the tissue paper. And then I'm going to use a water brush to go around the edge, just loosely, not in a specific shape, so that I can tear these out. That works so great to make a nice rough crazy edge. I love that look. So that's what it looks like. Woo! The fan caught it. So that's what it looks like, and now it's ready to apply with matte gel medium to my page. So I took those pieces of tissue paper with the rubber stamped images and I used matte gel medium to apply them, and the tissue paper just disappears into the background. It's really kind of a cool effect. I know you could stamp right on the page of the book yourself, but those tissue paper images just look even better. Here's the one with the light bulb, and I put some gold paint for the bottom of the light bulb and used a little tiny bit of white colored pencil on the light bulb. For her monocle, I used glossy accents to make it look like glass. I glued on a chain. I had drawn a chain, so the image itself has a chain going from her monocle up to the button on the top of her little beret hat. But I used a brass brad that looks like a button instead. I cut the prongs off of it and glued it on, and then I glued on chain to it, so it's actual chain going to the monocle. So there's what she looks like, and she's chilling, and I use those legs from a magazine image. The body is from a coloring book image. The face is the FaceUps from my Steampunk FaceUps kit. The typewriter image is from a book about antiques. And then I used Distress Oxide inks in the back and then rubber stamped all these fun images. So the skyline, the old airplane, and then use that Tim Holtz industry set of stamps. And then I went around the outside edge with a dark distress ink just to like block it in with some dark colors. So that's my first page in my Steampunk journal using one of the FaceUps from my Steampunk kit. I'll have a link in the description box below for that digital printout. You can print it out and use it in any way you want as far as altering it and layering it and making a lot of different characters just from that one page. If you use your creativity, you can really get a lot of fun characters that are going to go great in this Steampunk art journal. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I appreciate everybody watching. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. And hopefully you'll give this a try because it's really fun. I think this Steampunk book is going to be a fun art journal with that kind of a theme. And if you look up the definition of what is steampunk, it is a fantasy genre that's a focus in the style of the industrial era, matched up with futuristic technology and Victorian clothing style. So it's very sci-fi, very different, very out there, and the images are Victorian looking, but then a lot of things having to do with science, industry, and old transportation, things like that. So it's going to be really fun to use this kind of images in this art journal and just get really creative with it. Kind of a different theme, and some people are really into steampunk and some people aren't, so I know it's going to take just the right person to like the steampunk look, but I'll show you as I go along and create pages in this book to inspire you at least to try a technique or maybe make your own steampunk journal. So again, thanks for stopping by, and go make some art today because art soothes the heart.